Hey, it's New Thought Talk. I'm your host, Reverend Steve Walling from the Spiritual Awareness Center located in Fresno, California. Fresno, the heart of the Central Valley, the heart of the great state of California. Got a lot of great going on, a lot of heart going on. I'm glad to be here today. I hope you're glad to be here today, wherever you are today and wherever today is. You know, when we started the day, like I say each week, we open our hearts and our minds and declare that we are connected with that which gifts us this day, that we have the ability to make certain declarations about the day before we even open our eyes. And as we align ourselves with principle, we have the right to have a certain level of intention and expectation as the day unfolds for us. So it is a great day. And I'm glad, like I say, I'm glad you're here. So last week, I went through, and I really kind of keyed on the concept of, you know, one of the reasons why, and a big one, why a lot of times people that seek to put this philosophy into practice in their life with the intention of experiencing a greater degree of livingness and goodness and abundance in their life, but still keeping themselves tied to old thought patterns, consciousness that has limited them, that has held them in bondage, if you will. And from time to time, I'll probably go back to that because I don't think we can address that too much. It's so pervasive in the world today. Understand that, you know, when Holmes talked about this concept of the race consciousness, it's a reality. It is something to be reckoned with, and it is definitely an influence. And oftentimes, as we seek to break ourselves of old thought habit patterns, it sits there kind of as a weight that can push us right back into those old thought habit patterns. So we got to move forward. You know, Joel Goldsmith, he said it best when he said that we 24/7, we practice the presence of God in all that we do. And we describe God as love. And if we describe God, if God is love, and that's our story, and we're sticking to it, there's no room for hate. There's no room for prejudice, bigotry. There's no room for anger or fear. And yet it is still an experience in many people's lives. We have to get over it. We have to move beyond it. But having said that, today, I want to go back to the textbook today. I'm going to touch on a couple things. I want to talk about treatment in and of itself. I want to talk about a practitioner. How did Holmes talk about being a practitioner? And kind of meld those two ideas, those thoughts together in today's on today's show. So, treatment. We open up here on chapter 11, page 163 in the textbook. Holmes says, effective mental treatment is propelled by a consciousness of love. I mean, he starts right there, right off the get. It's propelled by a consciousness of love and a realization that the creative spirit is always at work. There's no place for us to pigeonhole something that maybe we don't want to give up, because oftentimes our hurts become little jewels to our heart, and we got to let them go. We got to move on. We start with a consciousness, propelled by a consciousness of love. Okay, a realization creative spirit is always at work, always. The practitioner does not feel that he or she must compel the force to work. It is the nature of the creative power to take form, and it is the nature of man to use it. And we use form in all that we do, every day. And understanding that form itself is in any reality, however you want to look at it, form is still the divine principle expressing as that form. Whether that form is expressing a degree of livingness or whether it is expressing a degree of solidness, if you will, okay? It's still divine principle in that form. There's no time, no place that we ever move away, get away from, or are not subject to that. Moving forward, he says a treatment should be given in a calm, expectant manner with a deep inner conviction of its reality. The reality as we speak our word within ourselves, as we speak our word, you know, the word of God is the law of God once the word is spoken. And oftentimes, you know, we think that maybe, and you can fill in after that maybe, but we can't, always. And as we think, that trend of thought in our consciousness is essentially the word that we are speaking as we're expressing our livingness through the day or at night while we're sleeping. The purpose of treatment. Holmes says the purpose of treatment, mental or spiritual treatment, should bring into actual manifestation the health and the happiness which are mankind's normal and divine heritage. Health and happiness, which are our normal heritage. What is that? Well, it's not a heritage of limitation. It's not a heritage of lack. But it is a heritage of potentiality that it is done unto us as we believe. And it is motivated by the faith that we have. And it is guided by the trend of thought or thinking that we have. Now, treatment, and we can go to all the different definitions of treatment. As a matter of fact, before the show's out, I'll probably go to the one in the glossary at the back of the book. But for simplicity's sake, treatment, in a sense, is a recognition of the who and what we are in relationship to the divine principle, the creative force of which all is an expression of, that relationship. And a recognition that in that relationship, we have a very direct and intimate relationship with that. And that direct, intimate relationship puts us in a position where we have not only the ability, you could say we have the authority, if you will, to speak our word with an expectation and an intention that a demonstration is going to take place. Again, limited only by our own beliefs. However, having said that, one of the things about treatment as we get into treatment is this. I'm going to go back here. He says actual manifestation of health and happiness of mankind. Okay, wait a second. I want to go back here. Where was it? Okay, treatment should be given in a calm, expectant manner and a deep inner conviction of its reality. That's where I wanted to go. When we talk about having a deep inner conviction of its reality, it's being the focus, the subject of our treatment. That inner conviction of its reality is a being of knowingness within our imagination, if you will, of the objective presentation, manifestation of a subjective thought that we have as we speak our word. In other words, we're creating in our imagination the reality that we have an expectation to see. And then we situate ourselves in relationship to that and the divine. And that's where when we talk about that giving thanks, gratitude, and then the fifth step, if you will, the letting go of it, is you get your fingers out of the pie, so to speak. It's amazing how many different ways that God, divine principle, can get to that end point that you seek to express through your treatment that is so far and totally beyond your ability to even begin to comprehend, that by trying to be a map layer, if you will, for principle, we automatically exclude so much. So we get out of the way. We open up to all potential possibilities. And in so doing, we allow the power that takes the word through the law, through spiritual substance, and demonstrates cause, condition, reality, expression in our day-to-day life experience. So we're going to start there today. We're going to take our first break, and I'll see you when we come back.
When you need to get fit, contact Gary Torres, IFBB Pro. Email GaryTorres5336@yahoo.com.
Hey, I'm Chris DeVold. Tune in every Friday night on CentralValleyTalk.com when I bring you Sex, Drugs, Chris DeVold, where I'll give you 3 guesses on what we talk about. And I also vow to bring you 1 live local music act a week. So tune in every week, because you never know what kind of music you're going to hear right here on CentralValleyTalk.com.
The Space Colony Journals are an epic tale of a family's struggle to survive. Meet the courageous women and dangerous men who dare to carve a home on the alien world of Vensug. Get your copy today. Available on Amazon and GailDailiesFineArt.com.
You enter this door with expired tags. Beyond is another dimension, a dimension of regulations, a dimension of long waits. You have reached the registration zone. What looks like an ordinary shop is actually Mitchell Smog, located in the heart of the Tower District, a few minutes from the DMV. Mitchell Smog offers your vehicle a STAR-certified smog inspection. So remember Mitchell Smog when you need to pass through the registration zone.
Contact Sarah Hernandez of June and Matt Photography to schedule your portrait, engagement, wedding, or next family photo session. But that's not all. Sarah is also your personal brandographer, helping you ditch the stock photos and get images that sell. Call 559-412-3721. Visit JuneandMattPhoto.com and follow Sarah on Instagram and Facebook.
Hello everyone, my name is Miss G. I offer fun and affordable promotion and advertisement on my talk show. It is called Fresno Vibes. We talk, we play awesome music. I also feature a bunch of different bartenders from different places. I like to have restaurants. I like to have any event, any kind of fun stuff. contact me at rmgmissg@gmail.com, and we will have so much fun, and we will promote your business, promote your event right here on my show. So contact me. We'll have fun. Thank you.
Give your child the tools to succeed. The Yergubian Academic Center offers one-on-one and group educational lessons by appointment. Over 90% of our students show significant improvement in their academics in just 3 months. Students of the Yergubian Academic Center have gone on to UCLA, UC San Diego, Yale, Stanford, and many more prestigious universities. Schedule a tutoring session today. Call 559-437-3973.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Okay, welcome back to New Thought Talk. I am your host, the Reverend Steve Walling. So I want to flip back here to page 69 in the textbook real quick, and then we'll move forward. Under Spirit Knows Itself in that section, Holmes writes, he says, God speaks and it's done. If God speaks, his word must be law. The word of God is the law of God. God is word, God is law, and God is spirit. This is self-evident, and we arrive at the conclusion that God, as spirit, is conscious life. This is the inner meaning of the teaching of the I Am. So when we come to that understanding that as we speak our word, and oftentimes it's phrased when we speak our word, that puts the law in motion. In truth, the word as we speak it is the law itself. Behind that word and behind that law is our understanding within ourselves of who we are. And God understands us, Spirit understands us at the same level. That understanding is full of love, compassion, free of beliefs and thoughts of limitation, judgment, and so on. To that degree, there is that degree of demonstration, expression in our treatment, in our life. Okay, but moving forward here, because we get caught up sometimes. If you are part of an organization that offers prayer practitioners, utilize them for sure, but don't think that you are out there on an island by yourself, if you will, if you don't have access to, maybe you're out in the internet, country somewhere, and you can't get to a center that has a practitioner, for example. You don't know someone. You're not, that's not available to you. In truth, and we're going to get into this in truth, you are the very best practitioner that is available to you, and that's true always. And because it is true, it begins to set up the parameters, if you will, of how important it is to get for each of us, to get our spiritual life in order. And our spiritual life is tied intimately to our mental life, to the thoughts that we think, to the habitual ways of thinking that we have, and to the beliefs that we hold. And oftentimes we hold beliefs that we're not even aware of, but they're demonstrating in our life. If we're seeing something demonstrate in our life that we're not necessarily thrilled about or overjoyed about, it's because there's something, some belief, some trend of thinking that we have allowed ourselves to be wired into, if you will, that is demonstrating, okay, that the law is projecting, if you will. And, what the law does, the law can undo also. Don't forget that God works for us by first working through us. So we're never alone, and we always have a bigger God than whatever issue that life may bring to us or bring at us. All right, so purpose of treatment. Purpose of treatment is basically we want to see a demonstration. And a demonstration is nothing more than bringing ourselves back into alignment with principle, if you will, very simplistically speaking. Holmes says in treatment we turn entirely away from the condition because as long as we look at it, we cannot overcome it. Now, oftentimes, particularly if we're in the midst of some less than wonderful situation, we say, well, how can we turn away from it? How can we not we're experiencing it. It's in our day-to-day life expression, whether it's has to do with finances, whether it has to do with health, relationship, self-expression, any of, a whole bunch of things. But you can, because, and this is the most amazing thing, if you can hearken back to that time, and you had that time at one time, when you lived in a world that was not necessarily a demonstration, if you will, of the life around you. And, you can call it a play world, you can call it an imaginary world, but there was a time when we were all younger that we had access to that within ourselves. It's not to be found without, but it is to be found within. But as we grew up, we were told that we need to get real, if you will. We need to stop daydreaming or whatever. That ability lives within you still to this day. Maybe you'll have to work at it. Maybe you'll have to practice it. The easel for that, if you will, is your imagination. The brushes that you bring to that is your faith and your will, not willpower, but your will, because you use your will to focus the brushes of your mind on that easel, on that canvas of your imagination, and begin to paint the demonstration as if it is already so. And in doing that, at that place, that point within yourself, you have essentially turned away from the condition, whatever that condition may be. So you say, well, that's fine for people that can go inside and create imaginary images. But my imagination doesn't provide an easel. I can't imagine pictures. But, and here's the thing, God does not give to any of us any less than. God gives to us in ways that we can all utilize. When we begin to start at that point and accept that as our truth, then as we go to our imagination, maybe it's not a brush that has oils or photographs or whatever, but it's a brush that displays feelings. We can all get in touch with feelings. A feeling that we are experiencing when we are at that point of demonstration, that which we want to see demonstrated. One of the, Thomas Trord tells us that we're here to live a higher, greater degree of livingness. That truly is our purpose in life. And there's enough information out and about in the world statistically that tells us on a psychological basis that you are at your best, highest degree of livingness when you are on the hunt to achieve a goal. And the closer you get to that level of achievement, the higher, the greater degree of energy experience that you feel. Last week I put this picture up behind us. It's of Yosemite, taken from Glacier Point. And what I don't know if I explained it last week or not, but I took that picture. And the reason why that's up there is because that picture for me is a demonstration because, long story short, I'm at a stage in my life where the powers that be wanted to give me a brand new knee. Isn't that nice? But I didn't want a brand new knee. I happened to be a retired doctor of chiropractic. I looked at the x-rays. I saw that the bone integrity was good, but there were some issues there, and I began to treat for it. Now, what I'm sharing with you is just how God does express when we get our fingers out of the pie, because had I had my way, if I were to tell God how to express for that whole perfect, complete need that I sought to see expressed in my life, there would have been one way of doing it. But because of my medical background, there was also a lot of knowledge there that could have held me in limitation. Giving it up to God, it was amazing. I was presented with an opportunity to involve myself with a whole bunch of good things that happened that demonstrated in a, for lack of a better word, it is a brace, but it's more than a brace. And with that, I am now able to go about and pretty much live a full life expression throughout the day. I can hike, I can ride a bicycle, I can get on my elliptical, and I do this. I'm all pain-free. I don't take any medication for it. God has demonstrated in my life in a way that I would have never given thought to, but it's there and it works. Now, the purpose behind all this is because I have an intention to keep that knee in its pristine, that joint in its pristine shape and the bones that they are, until medical science catches up with the stem cell research that they're doing, because they're doing some great stuff. And when they get to that point, it is my intention to be able to have that knee fully restored in its completely the way that I would like to have it done. And I believe that Divine Principle is going to see to it that unfolds at some point. So I don't need the brace. But even still today, I get up, I hiked up to Glacier Point, took that picture. I had a great day, beautiful day, no pain. At the end of the day, I felt fine. And my wife and I are able to do that and do it at greater degrees as I build up my strength, because for the last couple of years I've been somewhat limited. But I'm limited no more. Neither are you limited when you open yourself up to the possibility of Divine Principle expressing in your life. It will bring your belief, bring your faith, get your judgment out of the way, open yourself up, and allow God to do for you by doing through you what God does. It's awesome. Looks like it's going on 2:30. We're going to take our next break. We'll continue on with treatment when we come back. I'll see you then.
Are you thinking of selling your home? Since 2004, the Souza Group, brokered by eXp Realty, has specialized in premier property listings and sales located in the Clovis Unified and North Fresno markets. The Souza Group will do their best to exceed your expectations. Visit clovisunifiedhomes.com. If your home floods, who will you call? When your house springs a leak, it's time to call Clean Master Emergency Flood Service at 559-213-9430. Clean Master will be there in 60 minutes to start fixing your home. And Clean Master bills your insurance directly, saving you the hassle because you've got enough to worry about. Clean Master also offers carpet and upholstery cleaning, carpet repair, pet odor removal, and more. Remember, Clean Master Emergency Flood Service, 559-213-9430, and visit cleanmasterflood.com. Pour yourself a glass of Crybaby wine, available at the market and Sam's Italian Deli. And remember to ask for Crybaby wine at your favorite restaurant.
Forget about the higher good of food, right? You're growing a product that people enjoy really all over the world. I mean, how does that make you feel?
I think about that all the time. I think about the families sitting around a table, enjoying a meal. I just see that what we do brings families together.
I mean, we're blessed. We're in paradise for food.
The Kern family of the Kern Family Farm invites you to eat delicious, nutritious, organic produce available at the Gnarly Carrot, located at 32954 Road 222 in North Fork, California. The Gnarly Carrot is a local, natural, seasonally changing market offering a wide range of products from local Central Valley vendors. Get your caffeine fix, grab a smoothie, and support small businesses. Learn more at kernfamilyfarm.com and visit the Gnarly Carrot today.
Doctor in Sukasa allows you to connect with your doctor when you need a quick treatment. Avoid a trip to a medical clinic or emergency room and connect by video with your doctor from your home, work, or anywhere. Just go to drinsukasa.com on your phone, tablet, or computer. Dr. in Sukasa provides quality care that is convenient, bilingual, and affordable, so you are never left without access to health care. Visit drinsukasa.com today.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Welcome back to New Thought Talk. I am your host, the Reverend Steve Walling. Today we're talking about treatment. Treatment as something that is available to each and every one of us. Holmes talks about the fact that treatment's not something that was necessarily taught in the Bible, and that's true. But if you allow yourself to take a stroll through the teachings of this man that we called the master teacher, and you look at the things that he taught, and you put those things into practice in your life, you're already kind of on your way there. Maybe not formalized, but we don't always have to be formal, if you will. As a matter of fact, one of the things something I wanted to mention that, oftentimes we refer to treatment as affirmative prayer treatment, and when we commune with divine principle, with God, that is most definitely a form of prayer, but it's not the kind of formalized prayer that oftentimes people think of. Our interchange, our interaction with divine principle is something that takes place within ourselves. It's something that is amazing when we begin to see demonstrations in our life. It is something that is within us a recognition of our relationship in the greater scheme of things, and a realization that as we speak our word, as we seek to perform treatment for ourselves or someone else, that we become aware that we are truly subject to the divine principle, to God working through us. It's an amazing thing. One of the things that Holmes talks about in various places is the need for a spiritual experience, and you cannot have a greater degree of spiritual experience than as you treat for yourself or someone else, and then see demonstration in a positive way manifest as a result of that treatment. It's a great experience. You don't have to be formally trained as a practitioner. We're going to talk on that in just a minute. I want to go back here. When Holmes says, he writes, in treatment, we turn entirely away from the condition because as long as we look at it, we cannot overcome it. By thinking upon a condition, we tend to animate it with the life of our thought. So again, as we seek to treat, we turn away from the condition. We want to create within our imagination that blank canvas, if you will. And as I said in the last segment, it makes no difference whether you create an image or whether you create an experience that is experienced within by feeling. And boy, with feeling, we can go in so many different places and add so much life to that inner expression in our imagination. We don't have to have the image, if you will. It's the journey that builds that excitement, that energy. That's what I was talking about, that Trord talks about, that higher, greater degree of livingness. And then we see the demonstration, and we get to that point, and it's awesome. So, but moving forward, I want to touch on this before I get into the last section here. Check the clock. We're good. What is a practitioner? Holmes, he asks this question, and he answers. He says, the one who attempts to heal him or herself or another through the recognition of the creative power of mind and the ever availability of God or principle. Again, the one who chooses to heal himself or herself through a recognition of the creative power of mind and the ever availability of God. There's nothing in what he wrote there that says there has to be any manipulation, there has to be any force brought to it, there has to be any outside anything brought to it. Again, through a recognition of the creative power of mind, and mind with a capital N, so we're talking about divine principle, and the ever availability of good of God. God is ever present, ever available, works for us by working through us, but we are the directors, if you will, of how that works. Now, most often, most of us have allowed God to work for us haphazardly, randomly. Sometimes it's been for the good, sometimes it's been for the less than good, but we're still the conductor of that opus. And if we want to change it from, a chaotic cacophony of instruments, if you will, on a spiritual level, and create an incredible, powerful expression that is our experience and our life, we have at our beck and call the availability to do that. We were created in the image and likeness of God. In other words, the nature of God. And we were created with the incredible gift of being able to choose through consciousness and our self-awareness. It's an amazing thing. We take it for granted. We get up in the morning, what's your name? My name is whatever. And, what do you do? Well, I do this. And how do you self-define it? You self-define this, that, and the other. And all of that is just nothing. It misses the mark. What are you? You are the divine God expressing as you. You are the most powerful and have the ability to express and direct the most powerful awesomeness that you can imagine, or anybody else. And there was a period of time where science kind of separated itself from spirituality, and there are still areas in science where there are individuals that live in that consciousness, but more and more, and you can do the research yourself. And it's an amazing thing. Science is beginning to look at this creativeness that is expressed in all that is, not as something as in a something we can hold, touch, not an anthropomorphic being, but consciousness. Consciousness that is volitional. Kind of awesome when you think about it. At least it is for me. I hope it is for you too. But we tap in, we can connect with it. Trower talks about being in the relative versus being in the absolute, and to the degree that you are in the relative, to that degree you're not in the absolute. Well, what does he mean by that? And he's talking about, again, we can go back to Goldsmith, practicing the presence of God, but the degree that we are tied to the objective, conditional, and not in the subjective, in the realm of spirit, if you will. To that degree, we are limited. We are the defining organization in our life, if you will. I mean, organization is in, something that creates the rules, the regulations, the directions, the limitations, the openings, or whatever. We are that. We have the ability to change that, and most of us don't. Amazing thing. You come to new thought. You find that people are talking about creating your own reality. Oftentimes, one of the catchphrases is change your thinking, change your life, and it is very true. Sometimes not very easy for some folks. It can be easier than most people make it, but it's very true. There is no condition in life that is too big for the divine, the creative. I mean, let's face it. God creates universes, suns, stars, black holes, energy, so on and so forth. You think your little condition is too much for God? Most of us, we get in the position we begin to believe it because we look out at the condition and it kind of becomes our God in our expression in this life. So we decide to make a change. To make that change, if we have professional practitioners available to us, utilize them. Expect the highest and the best from a professional practitioner. They have been trained, and you have every right, if you go to them, to hold them to a high degree of responsibility in their profession. I believe that. But if we don't, or even if we do, we're on our own too. What is a practitioner? The one who attempts to heal himself or herself or another through the recognition of the creative power of mind and the ever availability of good. That person is a mental and spiritual practitioner. That pretty much is any of us, should we choose. Choose. It's a powerful concept, most powerful tool that we have. Choose to be a practitioner in your life today. Okay, maybe it's a little bit much to begin with. Maybe you're at a place where you don't have access to either a center or, the books you can buy online anywhere. Begin to do a little research. They're there, they're available. But if you're even limited in that regards at this point, there are books online available for free, PDF formats. There's newthoughtlibrary.com has books available. There's other places online. I believe that CSL through the Holmes Institute or the Holmes pages has a lot of Dr. Holmes's stuff available in PDF format, or even possibly videos or audios that you can listen to, where you can begin to make yourself acquainted with this stuff and put this into a day-to-day practice of focus, spirituality, quieting the mind, and doing this thing called treatment. Most important part of the treatment, realize that there's one creative force behind all it is, and it is all it is. Realize that it is expressing as you in this life, through you. In other words, you and that divine creative force, there is one, there is no other. Realize that in your realization of that which has created all that is at your beck and call to create beyond the condition that you are experiencing right now, at the level that you're willing to open yourself up, believe it, have faith in it, turn it over to the divine principle in thanksgiving, let it go, walk away, and you're good to go. Here's the deal. Such a one refuses to allow negative thoughts to control his or her consciousness, and they endeavor to greet the divinity in every person, every situation they meet. I've talked about that idea of where we're at, looking at dealing with situations in our life that are toxic, for example. But remember, God created all that is. God created all that is. So no matter what we're coming into contact with, it's still an expression of God. Maybe not one that we want to experience in our life, so we can establish boundaries. We can, through treatment, we can create different conditions for which we can express our life. And in doing so, as we seek to uplift those around us, even if those around us are individuals that are responsible for the less than positive conditions we're experiencing, seek to uplift them, send them love, hold them in divine consciousness. You create a better life for yourself, for them, and for the world. Looks like we're at the point of our last commercial break, and I'll see you when we come back.
When you need to get fit, contact Gary Torres, IFBB Pro. Email GaryTorres5336@yahoo.com.
Hey, I'm Chris DeVold. Tune in every Friday night on CentralValleyTalk.com when I bring you Sex, Drugs, Chris DeVold, where I'll give you 3 guesses on what we talk about. And I also vow to bring you 1 live local music act a week. So tune in every week because you never know what kind of music you're going to hear right here on CentralValleyTalk.com.
The Space Colony Journals are an epic tale of a family's struggle to survive. Meet the courageous women and dangerous men who dare to carve a home on the alien world of Vensug. Get your copy today. Available on Amazon and Gail Daly's FineArt.com.
You enter this door with expired tags. Beyond is another dimension, a dimension of regulations, a dimension of long waits. You have reached the registration zone. What looks like an ordinary shop is actually Mitchell Smog, located in the heart of the Tower District, a few minutes from the DMV. Mitchell Smog offers your vehicle a STAR-certified smog inspection. So remember Mitchell Smog when you need to pass through the registration zone.
Contact Sarah Hernandez of June and Matt Photography to schedule your portrait, engagement, wedding, or next family photo session. But that's not all. Sarah is also your personal brandographer, helping you ditch the stock photos and get images that sell. Call 559-412-3721. Visit juneandmattphoto.com and follow Sarah on Instagram and Facebook.
Hello, everyone. My name is Miss G. I offer fun and affordable promotion and advertisement on my talk show. It is called Fresno Vibes. We talk, we play awesome music. I also feature a bunch of different bartenders from different places. I like to have restaurants. I like to have any event, any kind of fun stuff. Contact me at rmgmissg@gmail.com and we will have so much fun and we will promote your business, promote your event right here on my show. So contact me. We'll have fun. Thank you.
Give your child the tools to succeed. The Yergubian Academic Center offers one-on-one and group educational lessons by appointment. Over 90% of our students show significant improvement in their academics in just 3 months. Students of the Yergubian Academic Center have gone on to UCLA, UC San Diego, Yale, Stanford, and many more prestigious universities. Schedule a tutoring session today. Call 559-437-3973.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Welcome back to New Thought Talk. I am your host, the Reverend Steve Walling. I hope you've enjoyed this today as we've gone through this. I'm going to move on to the chapter in the textbook entitled Law of Attraction. And talk a little bit about this. Holmes says thought can attract to us that which we first mentally embody, that which becomes part of our mental makeup, a part of our inner understanding. We talk about the law of attraction, and oftentimes people think of it in terms of like electromagnetic attraction or something like that, or like it's some force. And, well, it is kind of a force, in, very simplistically stated, but more specifically, it is an alignment with whatever we hold in our own consciousness, with that which the divine is ready and willing to do for us. God seeks to always create for each and every one of us. Problem is, God always creates what it is that we're holding in consciousness, what we're thinking about, our trend of thought, what we believe in. And that's not a problem for God because God has no judgment regarding this. God just says, I'm here to provide for you. I'm potentially everything you could need, want, and desire. And you express your needs, wants, and desires through the way that you hold your beliefs, what you think about, and how you express your mental consciousness throughout the day. You know, there's a whole bunch of responsibility in that concept. A whole bunch of responsibility that has nothing to do with the outside world. You know, I mentioned that we have a bigger God. I mentioned in the last several segments, and we do. But knowing that we have a bigger God than whatever life can bring at us, versus having an intellectual understanding that we have a bigger God, is two vastly different concepts. When we know and we know that we know, that's our go-to space, if you will. But it's more than just our go-to space, because when we live in that consciousness of practicing the presence 24/7, things just kind of tend to unfold in our lives the way that we would have an expectation that they would. Because we are the artist of that, if you will. God is the pitcher, out pitchering in demonstration, manifestation in our life. Spiritual mind healing is the result of the constructive use of a mental law. And that implies that there's a destructive use. And that's what I was talking about. Constructively is not, well, it is something that most of us have to kind of bring our consciousness to because we're caught up in life. But it can become a way of beingness, a way of livingness. And as we do that, then we do express to a higher and greater degree the livingness for which we were created to live. You know, I heard, and I may have repeated this many times on the show over the years, but, you know, our life is God's gift to us. How we live it is our gift to God. And the understanding is that God didn't give our life to us and then walk away. God's always been here, divine principle. But our journey, our path has been that discovery. And then as we unfold in and on that path and we direct our path, our discovery from a level of consciousness, we begin to gift back to the divine principle, if you will, through our higher and greater degree of livingness, our purpose for being here. And you know, it's kind of besides the fact that experiencing more good in our life in every level, every way, I mean, think about what it feels like to come to a realization within yourself, and this is available to each of us, and maybe a lot of you experience it, but that you are such an incredible being that you can gift back to that which has created you. Think about it. You have that ability. What does that mean to you? How do you choose to express that in your day-to-day life experience? I think it's kind of awesome. In a quiet, humbling sort of way, and in a loud, exciting, energetic sort of way, either way, and everything in between. Yeah, I think it's pretty awesome. So, law of attraction's not really so much an attraction as it is an alignment, because what we align with aligns with us. And if we align with good, if we align with abundance, if we align with divine principle, if we align with love, if we align with the creative source of all that is in a harmonious way, it aligns right back with us and expresses in our life. And that's what we've been talking about today. And so going through here in the last few minutes we have, I want to kind of close this idea today, and kind of goes back to what I was talking about last week. And this is kind of a theme that I hold to a lot. But when Holmes talks about in this particular chapter, and he's talking about attracting friends, but let's forget that for a minute. Let's just take at face value what it is that he's saying. He says, one of the first things that we do is Love everybody. If you have not done this, begin to do so at once. There is always more good than bad in people, and seeing the good tends to bring it forth. Love is the grandest healing and drawing power on earth. It is the very reason for our being, and that explains why it is that people should have something or someone to love. Loving, 24/7. It's kind of the same thing as practicing the presence of God, isn't it? I mean, don't we call God love? Think about it. That's where we are. That's what we do. And so, if we come to that realization, we seek to begin to experience it and express it in our life, well, we have a desire to be successful. And I'm going to close with this last little bit here that Holmes says about attracting success. He says, what we mean by demonstration, and demonstration is the end point of our affirmative treatment. He says, bringing into our experience something which we had not experienced before, bringing it in as a result of conscious thought, and unless it is possible to do this, and here's the key, unless it is possible to do this, our whole science is a mistake and a delusion. And that's the and or statement. Unless it's possible to do this, we're blowing smoke, essentially. Spiritual smoke, mental smoke, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to close on that today. But before I completely close, we have a right to expect a complete demonstration, because we make the claim that we are the divine, that we are God expressing as us and expressing through us. We have a right to have an expectation of good expressing in our life. Maybe we can't lay out the map how it's going to get there, like I shared with you. I'm now much more active, able to experience and express life at a higher, greater degree of livingness. But we have that right. It's what Holmes discovered. It's what he taught. He didn't teach a religion. He taught a philosophy of faith, a way of living. He taught a healing modality. And that healing modality is based on principles as old as humanity itself. And it's available to you, to each and every one of you. Open yourself up to it. Put it into practice. You don't have to have the textbook. You don't have to know all the words. You start within yourself. Quiet the mind. Open yourself up. One of the other things that Holmes taught was that the answer to any question can be found within, if we just go within with an expectation of receiving the answer. And that's it for the week. Have a great week as you go through your week. I hope you've enjoyed what I shared today. As you go through the week, know that the light of God surrounds you, the love of God enfolds you, the power of God protects you, the presence of God watches over you. Wherever you are, God is there. And if God's there, and truly God is, then all is well, my friends. Have a great week. See you when I come back.
Are you thinking of selling your home? Since 2004, the Souza Group, brokered by eXp Realty, has specialized in premier property listings and sales located in the Clovis Unified and North Fresno markets. The Souza Group will do their best to exceed your expectations.